Good, man.
Big Rob, what it do?
Nothing much, man. I know you caught the game the other night, man. What was your thoughts on it?
It was a good game, man. It was definitely a good game. Indiana got their pace early on. Tyrese Halliburton, he definitely showed me some glimpses pertaining to actually getting around people and beating the defense for probably the first time in the season. I mean, the first time in the
Series?
daggone matchup in the
Yeah.
series. So that was pretty interesting to see. But again, once OKC got going and then down the stretch, OKC kind of, took advantage of these guys. And me personally, I believe it was because of the threes. And this is why we say numbers lie, because OKC went 3 for 16 and won the game. Daggone Pacers went 11 for 36, which that's not a pretty good percentage, but they outscored those dudes by what? 24 at the 3 point line. So analytics in this day and age would normally say, if we outscore you by 24 at the 3 point line, we're going to win every single game. And that wasn't the case.
True.
When you and I talk about these things, I always say the team that's able to get the easiest baskets is going to win a game. Basketball is not a complex sport the way they try to make it out to be with these analytics. When you look in pertaining to the eye test, the team that's getting the easiest baskets is normally going to win, whether that's layups, whether that's open shots. And it was no different in game 4. OKC got the easier baskets, so they won a game.
Mm, mm. I slightly disagree with you on this one. Least pertaining to the last game. I agree as far as your statement, but I don't know if that related to this game per se. I didn't feel like OKC necessarily got the easier baskets the other night. Right? Was that last night, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mhm.
I didn't feel like they got the easier buckets. I just think it came down to SGA going downhill and closing the show. It came down to that grit and saying we not losing tonight. We not losing
Mhm.
tonight. But I didn't feel like they got the easier buckets, which is normally accurate. I agree with you 100%. Usually, like you said, basketball's a very simple game. Who get the easier buckets is going to win the game. I felt like Indiana was in control of that game. I felt like Indiana should have won that game. And I just think SGA just had something else to say. He just refused to lose. And it goes back to what we was talking about before. It's you got to get the ball out of his hand. I think if they
Mhm.
did that and got the ball out of his hand, they win. They win game 4. We looking at a total different series. It's 3-1. Indiana is going back to OKC up 3-1. And they didn't do that. They allow him to operate and down the stretch, get to his spots, get where he wanted to get to. Um, I think they did a bad job of sending help. They allow him to isolate them on the court and get to certain spots. I think it have came down to I think OKC didn't play a great game at all. And I'm a little worried going into game 5 for them. I'm a little worried going into game 5 for them.
Yeah, see, we in disagreement here because pertaining to easier baskets, SGA is going to continue to get the shot that he won. And that night was no different. Game 4 was no different. He got the shot he wanted. He went downhill. He got to his midi. He shot basically 1 3 coming down the stretch, which was a huge three that he hit. But other than that, he did what he do every night. And this is the problem pertaining to guys shooting so many threes in this era. I think Tyrese, like I said, played a good game. The only criticism is when they switched that pick and roll and he got the big man. A few times he settled for threes and he only
Lack
went
of
one for
aggressive.
seven from the he only went 1 for 7 from the 3 point line. And to me, that's a horrible shot. This is the problem with this era because They believe that they super skilled, but when it comes to taking advantage of a mismatch, they do a horrible job. And I think that was one of them. So he settled a few times on that pick and roll switch with a big, which normally that's his bread and butter. Like he eating for lunch. Anytime he normally get that switch, oh yeah, he out there celebrating. He out there having a good time, but that wasn't the case pertaining to game 4. When he got that switch, he settled, I believe, 2 to 3 times with threes that didn't go in. And this is the problem with numbers. And this is the problem with result driven coaching, because he hits that shot, everybody's cheering him on. It's a highlight in ESPN. No matter if he hit that shot or not, it's a bad
Bad shot.
shot. And
Yeah,
this
you know,
is
I
and this
agree with
is
you on that. But that's what I was saying, Mike, as far as I feel Indiana let them off the hook. I don't feel OKC won that game. And two reasons. One, you're speaking on with Tyrese Halliburton with when he getting that switch, letting them off the hook, which I was very surprised of because that's what got them to the finals. Right? Like I don't think, and we spoke on this before, I don't think OKC should be switching on that screen. That's number one with a big. And every team that have done that to Indiana got knocked out because of him, specifically picking on that switch. And for whatever reason, he did a horrible job picking on that switch last night. So I agree with you 100%. But that's part of the reason why I say Indiana let them off the hook. Then on top of that, when I'm saying with SGA got to his spots, but to me, it's not the easier buckets because they making him work. So it's not easy buckets. They making him work. They making him work too hard to get those shots off. And I think that's the only reason why he had it came so much down the stretch and him had to make those shots down the stretch. Yeah, it's shots that he make, but I still feel like he's working too hard for them. Still feel like he's working too hard. So that's why I'm saying I don't feel OKC played a good game at all. I don't think they had a great defensive strategy. I think they was let off the hook last night. And then I'm not comfortable with winning a 7-game series and SGA got to take us home against that Indiana team. I think they are a great defensive team on the perimeter. Um, and I think if you're working that hard to get buckets down the stretch, I don't know. Like if Tyrese was aggressive and we had to look and say who was going to get the easier buckets, I think Tyrese is getting easier buckets going against the big on that switch than SGA going against what was it, the Nate Smith dude and the Nim, I forgot the other dude name that was guarding him on the perimeter. I think he got
mm-hmm.
to work harder against those two
Them
dudes
hard.
than Nimrod. I think he got to work harder against those two dudes than Tyrese coming off of that screen and these dudes switching with Chet or somebody on him. If he goes downhill, I don't know if they win that game. That's why I just feel like, okay, I mean, Indiana let them guys off the hook. I think they threw that away.
Look, you and I are in disagreement pertaining to how we saw game 4. Did SGA say I'm MVP? Yes, he did. But it was a lot of other things that I believe OKC got easy, and that's why they was able to overcome the Pacers' pace and then the way the Pacers shot from the 3-point line. So normally a team outshoot you at the 3-point line, they get their pace and they at home. Normally that'll probably spell an L for you, but it didn't. Why it didn't? Because OKC dominated those guys in the paint. So they outscored them in the paint 50-36. So again, when I say the easier buckets, these are the easier buckets. Again, they beat them at the free throw line. They had an extra whatever 9 free throws or something like that at the free throw line. So these are easier buckets that I'm talking about. And I'm always going to call a bucket easy when SGA got the ball going downhill. I don't care who they put on him. I don't care if they put Neesmith. I don't care if they put Nembhard. If he get to his pull-up game, it's night-night. And you and I discussed this before. If they don't send that double team, SGA was catching it in scoring positions and he was going downhill. Yeah, they was getting some bumps and all that, but he one of the best in the game to get back on balance and get to his midi game. So which one would I prefer? Somebody getting in the paint and getting to their mid-range, or somebody just throwing up three-point shots after you get a switch with a big man? Which one is the easier buckets to me? Of course, OKC to me is the easier buckets. Yes,
Yeah,
during a portion of the game, right? During a portion of the game, Indiana was getting easy buckets. Why? Because they controlled the pace. It was a transition type of game. And we all know that's when Indiana is at their best. Everybody is going to have a hard time with them when they get that pace and they at home. And they was knocking some threes down or whatever the case may be. And of course, they got cold as the night went on, which is why I feel like you shouldn't be settling at the three-point line, especially when you have a mismatch. But again, just to piggyback off of what I said, I believe OKC had the easier buckets, and that's why they won the game. But I give it to you. Did SGA have to show he was MVP? Yes. And I think he had a hell of a performance coming down the stretch. This is why we say all the time, numbers lie, because we've seen him with 35, but not dominate and get 35. This 35, they needed every single point. Coming down the stretch, if he go get
he closed the
33,
show.
they don't win it. They may not win a game. You get what I'm saying? So he came out and he gave his team exactly what they needed to win the game. And I think this is the problem with this era when people start looking at the stat sheet. They say, oh, this guy, oh, he's amazing. He's a superstar. He dominated the game. But when you look at it, when his team needed him most, a lot of these guys shrank under the lights. And that's not what SGA did. He seized the moment and he said, I'm not just a regular season MVP. I'm MVP. I'm the face of the league.
Yeah, true indeed. True
You know what
indeed.
I'm saying? Like,
No, I agree with that statement. I think we're saying the same thing in slightly different ways. You know what I'm saying? I think we agree 100%. I just feel like if Indiana is going downhill and OKC play that same game, I don't see them coming out with that victory. I don't see them coming out with that victory because, yes, did they get the easier buckets for that night? Yes. Right? When you put it in that way. Like, did they get the easier buckets for that night? Absolutely. But I just felt it was too much SGA driven. And if I look, and like I said, if you get Tyrese going down here, which he's normally doing on that matchup, but he have done all playoffs, and you have to compare who got the easier buckets. Indiana to me would have got a lot more easier buckets. It's just is a mismatch, right? They actually operating on a mismatch, and these guys is actually matched up. And we agree 100% with Indiana. I mean, with how Indiana should be guarding SGA. We been said that from game one of the series. You know what I'm saying? You cannot allow SGA to beat you. Plain and simple. You got to allow somebody else to show that they're going to win 4 games. You can't have this dude going out giving you 35, 33, 30. Like, you just can't have it. So I agree. I think we're saying a lot of the same stuff in a different way. But I am nervous for OKC going down the stretch because I don't feel like the game plan was the right game plan. I
yeah, I
feel that's why
understand
I'm
where you're
saying
coming
Indiana.
from.
That's why I'm saying Indiana left them off the hook. I don't feel OKC um came in with the right game plan defensively and offensively. Um, which do lead to, let me say this. What's your predictions going forward, like the series for game 6 or even game 7 or just the series in total?
Well, pertaining to game 5, I believe OKC will be victorious. I do believe Indiana got a chance to play their brand of basketball at home, and they still lost. OKC still found a way to pull the game out, shooting the ball horrible from the three-point line. We all know when you go home, the role players are going to shoot the ball a lot better. It's going to be a different type of energy in the atmosphere or in the arena for OKC. And then SGA is always going to be SGA. Jalen Williams have came into his own in this series. He's going downhill, feeling like he could get to the bucket whenever he want. He's getting into his mid-game bag. So again, I think based on the talent of OKC, if they control the pace a little bit more with the Pacers, I just believe they too much for them pertaining to the
I
talent.
agree.
The
I
funny
agree.
thing is, both teams are resilient. Both teams got grit. It's just one team got the MVP, and he knows how to do his thing without stepping on the toes of his teammates.
Yeah,
And I can't express how tough that is in this era because it's so many superstars that they label superstars in this era that get numbers, but they get numbers and they step on everybody else's toes to do it. They don't bring the best out of their teammates in regards to skill set. And SGA lets the game come to him in a flow that empowers his teammates, but he know when they need him, he stand up and say, I'm MVP. And they
I
expect
agree.
him to do that. And he expect himself to do that. So again, if it's coming down a stretch, I'm always going with OKC, even though we know the success Tyrese has had. But I think this series is different because he don't really have the mismatch when it comes to foot speed based on the OKC guards. And I'm enjoying this series
Yeah,
because
well,
I
I'll tell
can't
you. Go
remember. Let me just say this, Ron. I can't remember the last time I seen two teams that played this brand of basketball in regards to defense. Both is
word.
picking up full court. Both is actually D'ing the basketball up and not playing this fake containment defense or you score, I score type of game. They're really out there trying to stop each other. Normally, NBA look like a pickup game. And even when you get to the playoffs, depending on the team, it gets a little bit more physical, but sometimes the defense is still trash. Right now, we're seeing a high competitive defensive matchup that I can't think of just, the last maybe 4 or 5 years we've seen pertaining to this level of defense that's being played.
Yeah, I agree. And I would argue that the top two defensive teams is in the finals. Still holds true
Agree.
that defense win championships. The top two, I thought these two teams was the least, and people gonna look at me as like I'm crazy. These two teams was the least talented teams in the playoffs this year. Indiana to me was the least talented team on the East, and everybody gonna look at what's the name as the number one seed. Um, Oklahoma, right? Look at them as the number one seed. To me, they were still the least talented team on the West. I thought Minnesota was more talented than them. I thought you got. I mean, I guess you could. Yeah, you can even argue LA with a freaking Luca and damn LeBron, right? Like
Mhm.
it's just anybody you think on the West. I thought OKC was one of the least talented teams. I think even besides not having the star power, I would even argue that the Rockets was a more talented team to me than OKC, or at least right there when I look at as far as least talented teams. So what got the both teams there, in my opinion, was defense. Was definitely being able to defend. What I will say though, I think Indiana benefit from this era defensively. They small, and we seen that with the Knicks, right? If you had a dominant big in there, where the Robinson dude was in there just grabbing boards, if you had a dominant big that could grab balls like that and finish, I don't think they would have went nowhere. So they benefit from this era with a bunch of big men that want to just stand outside and shoot 3 pointers all day. Their defense have benefited from this era because they're a perimeter defensive team,
Yeah, I
right?
agree with you pertaining to the talent until you said the Rockets.
You don't think so?
I think, yeah, I think you off your rocket. You get what I mean? I think, I think, I think you off your rocket pertaining to the Rockets being more talented than OKC.
The
I
Rockets
truly
got
believe.
some young talent. You don't sleep on them.
Nah,
They got some
nah.
young
They
talent, man. They
rely
don't
on
have. Go
they
ahead.
rely on Jalen Green, and we already know where his game went. The old chick done sucked the game out of this guy, man. You get what I'm saying? So he's done, man. He's done. Like she got
Yo,
this dude game. in like a urn somewhere sitting on a
Yo,
shelf, and he asking for it every single night, especially during the playoffs. Because we
she,
know how the regular season is. Ain't nobody really playing defense, all of that type of stuff. But when the playoffs came and they
yo,
needed
I'm
him,
in tears.
that man game was in an urn, man.
Yo,
So they
so you
rely
trying
on
to
him
say
too
she
much.
hit? You trying to say she hit him with the what's this show? Space Jam when they took when
Yeah.
they took the
Oh man.
they
Yo, I
took
wasn't even thinking about Space Jams, but
yo
yeah, son.
when
She
they
probably
took
got that guy game. She probably got his game on eBay somewhere, man. You
yo.
know, selling it. She
Oh
probably got his
man,
game on
yo.
eBay, man. This is why you can't mess with these Cougars, man. Cause they'll take their game. Yo, you
They
laughing, man.
yo, you
You
trying to say she
laughing.
been practicing for too long at this? Yo, she an
Look,
expert. She an
look,
expert.
man. Suck the game right out that man. You get what I'm saying? Because if he actually played up
Oh
to his ability and talent, we could debate on who's the
yeah,
least
but remember
talented
I
team
said
or the
that,
most talented team.
but the when I before I said it, remember I said besides star power, like I'm looking at from top to bottom, right?
No, I
Uh, uh,
get you.
yeah, I'm looking at from top to bottom. They have a lot of young talent there. The Thompson kid, um, even the Jabari kid, like they got a lot of talent going on there. When I look at from top to bottom, um, I would argue that they neck and neck. But the difference is of course the star power. You know what I'm saying? When you start looking at the
Mhm.
stars of the team, like no, Jalen Green is nowhere close to SGA. But yes, your man definitely he
Yeah,
definitely
I'm
man
sorry to
need a
say it,
he
man.
he definitely son she need to be easy for she mess up that man future contracts, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
real talk.
She
Real
need to
talk,
be
man.
because definitely since she entered that man life, son, his game definitely been going. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it
I don't know
haven't
what
been
it
on the
is.
uphill.
Look, I don't know what it is about them Cougars, man. But guys get these Cougars and they legs, they game. I mean, look, Jalen Green is a super athletic young dude. He was putting dudes in the rim. He was doing all types of stuff, man. And then this
Yeah.
chick grabbed him, and she did whatever she did. And the playoffs came, and like I said, man, this man game was in a urn the whole playoffs, man. You know, so
Yo,
yeah, it is what it is.
look, them Cougars, they be having practice. You know what I'm saying? She had generations of practice. He wasn't prepared for that, man.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
gotta.
yeah,
He
yeah.
maybe need to find something his age. Son. She a pro at what she do. You know what I'm saying?
You and I
She's
are in
she's
agreement. You and I
she's
are in agreement when it
elite.
comes to
She's elite in talent.
that. He's definitely a lead at what she does. You get what I'm saying?
Oh
So,
man, son. Yeah, that's crazy. But yo, I saw I don't know if you seen that. I saw who was it? Oh, Stephen A. Smith doing the top point guards. I guess he was going just top 5 point guards or whatever the case might be. Did you get to see his list?
nah, I didn't get to see his list. I knew, Magic was at the number one, but I didn't get a chance to review his list.
Yeah, I know it was Magic one. Damn, now I forgot it. I know he had Chris Paul 5, Isaiah Thomas 3, Magic 1, Stephen Curry 2, and J Kidd 4. I hope that's correct. Yeah, I believe
Gotcha.
that's correct. What you think? You think that was a cool top 5 there?
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I don't really see anything wrong with that. I think his number one is definitely number one,
Oh yeah, without a
So
doubt. Without a doubt.
yeah, yeah. So from that standpoint, I think it's a pretty good list. I would have to think about it on the tail end of the list, but hearing it right now, I really have no issues with
No
that
issues with
list
it. Yeah, I
whatsoever.
thought it was
Yeah, yeah,
pretty
yeah,
good. And I
yeah.
got a chance to think about it. I thought it was definitely pretty good. I mean, sometimes you could argue for this person, that person, but overall, I think it was a good list. And I agree with you. Number one, it's not even up for debate. With
Hmm.
Magic, how you feel? about just where the point guards is at in this era where we at today.
To be truthful, we really don't have point guards in this era. You know, eras prior to this, we had what we would call true point guards. Me definitely, being a point guard myself, most of the time I played basketball, uh, like this is kind of dear to my heart. And when you watch basketball nowadays, a lot of the issues when it comes to team basketball is based on IQ because you don't have a point guard on the court. Now,
Word.
the average fan, Rob, wouldn't understand that. You get what I'm saying? Because they have diminished what point guards truly do, chasing the Steph Curry era. So everyone's looking for someone to shoot threes and get them up quick and shoot them from anywhere on the court, not understanding Steph Curry possibly never become Steph Curry if he didn't have a Draymond Green, which kind of slid into that true point guard, forward/point guard position, which
Mm-hmm.
allows Steph Curry to do what he do best, free up, run around. I think one of the things people don't give Steph Curry credit for is his endurance, which is a skill in basketball. And people don't understand that. So not only is he shooting the lights out the basketball, not only is he shooting pull-ups and going off the dribble and catching shoots in the range of his shots, but he may run a mile before he shoot. You get what I'm saying? Like he may
Yeah.
actually. So you got to continue to put a body on this man and run around with him. And the minute you cheat a screen or get a little tired or die on a screen, here he go letting a shot up go up. And if you ain't contest right or even contest it right, it may be swish bottoms. You get what I'm saying? So
Word.
so people chasing that ultimately took the point guard out of the game. The last couple of true point guards, and the funny thing, we possibly only got one real point guard left, and that's Tyrese
Word.
in the game today. And it shows the importance of a point guard when we talk about how talented a team is. Indiana is not a talented team, but they know how to play. They are put in the right positions to be successful, not only as individuals, but as a team. And when you got a true point guard, what I learned as a point guard, one, you have to know your personnel. You have to know everybody on the court, what they do well and what their deficiencies are on the court, not just on your team, but the other team. And one of the most important things that people don't understand when it comes to a point guard is you have to be able to control the pace for your team. Sometimes that's walking the ball up, sometimes that's running, sometimes that's getting into your offense and trying to get a quicker shot right off of, kind of secondary transition. All of these things are extremely important pertaining to basketball because you fighting a lot of the times in regards to styles, similar to boxing. Sometimes you may play the wrong style and lose the game based on that style. In basketball, that happens a lot. And again, pertaining to this era, you don't see that a lot. You see a lot of horrible shots. You see a lot of what I consider low IQ plays. And I think that has to do with one, a point guard not truly being on the court. And then two, I think some of these coaches are lacking with an IQ as well. Because anybody that played basketball understands that you can have a lot of talented guys on the court, but some of them just want to hoop. Some of them can't think the game to save their life. Similar to your man Ant-Man. Super talent, dog on the court, but when it comes to making the game easier for himself, a point guard will help tremendously if he listens. Because we know Mike Conley tried to, you know, guide this guy a year ago, and we reading lips and we heard him loud and clear, but he didn't take that advice, or he didn't at least stick with it, which it shows. And that's
Yeah,
why
I
he was
don't think
doing one,
he.
two, three Cancun.
Yeah, I don't think he fully understood it. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. The point guard is definitely missing out the game. And I think it go hand in hand. I think a lack of good coaching is missing out the game, on the NBA level. And then I think, like the lack of true point guard is missing out the game. I think guys are just looking at, again, back to analytics, why we say numbers lie, right? Dudes are just looking at statistics, right? A dude, just because a dude got 8 assists don't make him a good point guard. Because a dude got 10
Mm-hmm.
assists don't make him a good point guard. You know what I'm saying? And then we got to a point of we lost value in a point guard that may not be the best scorer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like people don't understand the effect Tyrese have on the game. Even when he's not scoring, he's able to dominate a game sometimes without necessarily giving you 20 and 30. That's great to
Mm-hmm.
have a point guard that if you need 20 or 30 or whatever the case might be, they could get you those numbers. But that's not really what makes a point guard, right? And point guards could dominate and leave an imprint on the game without necessarily getting those numbers. And I think we have chased those stats to the point that we probably got a lot more two guards at the one than anything, or guys that don't really understand what the true point guard position entails, right?
I
So,
agree. Look, I agree
so
with you 100%,
yeah,
Rob.
yeah. So little things that we talk about, controlling the pace of the game, right? Um, Guys don't understand that. So if your point guard don't understand that, then your team don't understand that. Well, that little
Mm-hmm.
thing could be the difference between a win and loss, because you got to know where your strengths and where the other team weaknesses at, right? Do we want to run them
Mm-hmm.
out the gym, or if we run with these guys, are we gonna get ran out the damn gym? And that was a great analogy you made with boxing styles make fights. If you do you want to fight on the inside, or you gonna stick out here in boxing, you gotta know your strength and you gotta know the other team weaknesses. And point guards usually dictated that. Point guards understood that.
Definitely.
It started from the coach, and then that was spread down to the point guard to kind of dictate those things. But when we picking point guards, is can he shoot the three? Right?
Mm-hmm.
How much assists is he averaging? Right? Is he getting 20, 20 and 12, 28? You know what I'm saying? You can have a point guard with freaking, I don't know, 12 points and 12 assists and 6 points and dominated that game and be the reason that you won. But in this era, that is not the case. People will look at the guy that had 30 and say that's the reason they won. Right. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think we have gone too far away from not having a point guard, and Tyrese showed the importance of it. Because even when you lack the talent and you got a true facilitator on the court, you always got a shot at every game.
mm-hmm.
You got a shot at every game. If you defending and you got decent talent around you and you got a true facilitator out there, you got a shot at every game. And that's
Right.
what this playoffs showed.
A sad part is we are in a sheep league that guys just basically copy each other. And I don't believe that the Pacers is going to win the championship. I believe OKC is going to hold the trophy when it's all said and done.
I
And no
agree.
one is really chasing, right, to follow second place. I think
Mm,
if Tyrese was able to pull it out, it may ignite a true point guard again. We've already
mm,
seen all of these experiments pertaining to the Phoenix of the world, where we just gonna put Devin Booker and Brad in the backcourt. Oh, where did that get them? Not even in the play-in. Like again, you had all this talent on a roster. The one thing you didn't have was a true point guard that have a true IQ for the game. It's no coincidence, Ra, that a lot of point guards, when they stop playing, they become coaches because they was already coaches. They coaching the game while they on the court. They literally looking at it. We haven't scored in 3-4 possessions, but we in the bonus. I'm about to get to the free throw line, or I'm gonna get somebody to get to the free throw line. We're gonna stop this run right here. These are little things that analytics can't pick up. that when you worrying about how many threes you hitting, those analytics isn't going to pick up these little nuances of the game, which shows true IQ. You and I have looked at teams for the last 5 or 6 years that had amazing talent and was put together amazing besides a true point guard. And you remember these conversations, Rob, because you and I would always say, yo, all I got to do is go pick up Rondo.
Mm-hmm.
Rondo is the essence of a true point guard, not a Chris Paul, even though some people may say he's a true point guard. But I think Chris Paul started to lean to the Steve Nash era of I'm going to dribble the ball for 20 something seconds and try to get a mismatch off a pick and roll. You know, the LeBron, the AKA LeBron, the AKA James Harden, I am the system. True point guards find a mismatch with moving the ball. They attack mismatches when they need to attack them. They're not dribbling the air out the ball for 24 seconds. And Rondo is a prime example of that. LeBron don't get that fourth championship if Rondo isn't on that team. And I know people may say, that's insane. Rondo was coming off the bench and this, that, and the third. If they watch these games and they go back and look at he dominated the game in certain portions of the game, they would understand exactly what I'm talking about. And he wasn't dominating the game with big numbers. He was picking teams apart. He was literally making teams' defensive schemes go away, making them sub guys off the court because they couldn't play against them in a certain way. Again, this is controlling the style that you want to give your team the best chance to win the basketball game. And I think Rondo was a prime example in this era what a true point guard would do for a team.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like you said, we done had that conversation several times. I agree with you 100%. And that even leads me to think this era, the flaw in this era, because I know people talk about, they try to compare eras from 90s and 80s and blah blah blah. Even when we having the conversation which we had, that GOAT conversation, or dudes say Jordan went against bus drivers and all types of stupidity like that, right? So that leave me with this era where dudes don't understand this is definitely probably the most talented ever, which is expected, right? Like anything, it evolves. So if we in 2025 and we don't have the most talented era, then I don't know what we doing. But even with it being the most talented era, it's not the best era. And I think people get that confused. Why is not the best era? For some of the reasons you point out. IQ. I don't think they understand how elite some of these guys' IQ was, right? And how elite some of these coaches' IQ was, and that's starting to fade out as Popovich is leaving the game, the Phil Jacksons is gone. It's only a few coaches you could look at and be like, yo, these guys' IQ is elite, the Steve Kerrs, and it shows why he continue to win. Same thing with the
Mhm.
players. I think they give a lot of these players for this ever having a certain IQ that I just don't see. I think it's definitely the most talented, right? I think if dudes had the IQ in this era, certain dudes would have more rings than what they truly have.
And
Think
look,
KD would have more than 2 rings, right? Um, I would argue that I think Kyrie has more than 1 ring right now, right? Who I
yeah,
felt was super talented, I think when we talking about top point guard, I think he should have end up with his talent. He should have end up in that debate. The
definitely.
way you know what I'm saying, when you look at his talent as far as and you compare it to his career. So I think we in one of the most talented eras we ever been in, but we lack in IQ in this era, and I think that's the difference from any other era compared to the era that we in. We getting more talented, but guys is not understanding the game to the in depth, and that's probably part of the reason. Part of that is probably not having true point guards on the court.
Yeah. And look, I'm going to disagree with you,
Mm,
but from this standpoint, because I'm going to play around with definitions. So I kind of agree with you, but I'm gonna disagree with you, and here's why. Do I think they the most talented era? No. I think they the most skilled era. So what I
Okay.
mean by skills, right, is, and then I'm gonna explain what I mean by talent, because I know what you meant by talent, and that's why I'm disagreeing with you because I believe we got a different definition
Okay.
pertaining to it, right? So what I mean by skill, shooting the ball, dribbling the ball, all of those different things that entail offensive skill, because they got no defensive skill. They got zero defensive skill. Let me just keep it a buck.
Yeah,
Like
that's a fact.
these guys can't slide their feet to save their life, you know? But
Yeah.
from an offensive perspective, skill wise, they have gotten better. Like every era have gotten better because each era is standing on the other era's shoulders. So
100.
when we talk about this, guys trying to disrespect eras and not pay homage to the other era before them is asinine because you wouldn't know how to uh, pivot off a fadeaway if you ain't see the fadeaway from Mike,
Word.
right? You wouldn't know certain ball handling moves if you didn't see Isaiah put certain ones together and then you kind of took that and mixed it up and got your own sauce out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these guys have did an incredible job pertaining to skill, continuing to grow the game like every era before them. Every era skill have improved. Here's why I'm not saying they the most talented, right? Because talent is how you use the skill.
Mm.
These guys don't know how to use their skills. Like other eras before them, right? They ran offense, got a mismatch, and abused mismatches. They abused them. They abused mismatches and think about the physicality that they had to endure to abuse mismatches. Just remember what you and I was talking about when it came to Tyrese and the big man getting on him. So one, you got a big man on a guard, and if the big man set the screen, that means you got a guard on a big man down low. These guys ain't taking advantage of either mismatch. You like yo, correct me if I'm wrong.
Nah, 100.
Yo, co-
100. 100.
correct me if I'm wrong, right? This guy is literally settling for 3-pointers, so they think they more talented. But in my era, if you talking about 90s and early 2000s, yo, my man, you would have been under the bench. I don't care how good of a shooter you are. If a big man switched on you and he just didn't completely lay off of you, and he really up there trying to guard you, and you make a move and take a step back three, yo, get him out of here. That's what the coaches get him out of here
Yeah.
because they believe the mismatch is outside versus inside now, which is again going back to these analytics. So let me continue to explain the talent that I was talking about. You can have skill, but when it comes to talent, you got to be able to use that skill. And this is why these guys aren't dominant in this era because they don't know how to use their skill based on matchups. They believe I got all of these tools in my tool belt pertaining to offensive skill, and I'm going to just use it at my leisure. So you would start getting debates of who's the better big man, Shaq or the Joker. Look, none of these guys was more dominant than Shaq. You could shoot a 3-pointer, you could put the ball on the floor, you could do all this crazy stuff based on Shaq's skill set, the way he dominated mismatches and dominated the game based on his skill. We don't see that in this era. The closest thing in this era is daggone Giannis, Greek the Freak, or you could say SGA. SGA is going downhill, taking advantage of opportunities a lot of these guys aren't. They
Look.
shooting horrible shots after horrible shots, and talking about their skill set. I don't want to see a big man, a 7-footer on you, literally trying to guard you 28 feet away from the basket, and you take a step back to get to 30 feet to shoot a three. And if it go in, you laughing, Rob, but this is what we dealing with, right? And if it go in, then people are praising you. To me, that's not talent. To me, talent is being able to use your skill set to the best of your ability. So yeah, y'all guys, this era, they more skilled because the game has opened up. And right now, there's no such thing as a bad shot. A dude could come out the tunnel and shoot it, and dudes are saying good shot.
Yeah, as long as he can hit it, right? And he could go
Yeah.
1 for 10
Oh,
from
he's
then.
missing.
He could look, but he could go 1 for 10, and they're gonna let him shoot that shit 10 times. But to piggyback on what you were saying, just with the Joker analogy, let's look at this fucking playoffs. You had Caruso, a
Yeah.
6'4", roughly, I guess 6'5", see probably about 6'4", 6'3" guard, guarding
Oh,
your MVP big man. Never in history. I don't give me any so-called not even a superstar big. Give me any all-star big from any era. And you put a 6'3", 6'4" guard on him, and he changed the series. Joker literally
yeah,
couldn't do shit with him. He couldn't
yeah.
do shit with him. Fuck yeah,
Rob.
Caruso. Yo, Mike, when I saw this though, Mike, when I saw it, I said, yo, what the fuck is this coach doing? He about to
Yeah.
put Caruso on fucking Joker? The shit end
Oh
up being
man.
genius, son. The shit end up being genius. Like, you put a 6'3" man on an MVP big. Never. You get what I'm saying? When you look at a Shaq era, they literally hire big men just for fouls. That's how dominant
Oh
he was.
yeah.
Dudes was getting jobs just to, your job is to commit 6 fouls tonight. We need more bodies out there.
Exactly. A lot of bigs,
That shit
Rob.
crazy,
Old
son.
Shaq. A lot of bigs, old Shaq, they check.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
like
you
you said, they was picking dudes up like, yo, we need your 6 fouls. We
yeah,
need
yeah, we
every
need.
foul you got to try to even play against this dude
Yeah,
because
yeah.
how dominant he was. So they got to stop these comparisons because, like you said, when I watched Alex Caruso get on Joker, I thought he was about to cook him. I'm not even gonna lie to you
Yo, I
because
thought the
Joker
same
is
shit.
because Joker is one of the dudes that could go down low and get some buckets. That he not just settling for threes or whatever. So
Yeah,
I'm
he been in
thinking,
America too long, man. Send that dude
yeah,
back to Serbia somewhere, man. Cause that
yeah,
that
you're
was
right.
that was disgusting, man. That was
Yeah, you're
disgusting
right.
work. I couldn't believe my own two
He
eyes.
locked Joker up. He locked Joker
He changed
up,
the
man.
series.
Yo.
Joker was running around trying to set screens, Mike.
Yeah.
With Caruso on him. He was running around trying to. I'm like, yo, I couldn't even watch it. I'm like, yo, what the
Knew it was over. Look, I knew it was over when Joker tried to turn into Kevin Durant. You know how Kevin Durant started posting up at the free throw
free
line?
throw line? Yeah, yeah.
Yo, he started trying to post this man at the free throw line. Son, if I ain't pay good money for my TV, I'd have kicked it down. Real talk. You get what I'm saying? Like, I would have kicked it right down. This is how bad this IQ of basketball is. If you got
Yeah,
Alex
man.
Caruso, Garden, who is literally y'all big man MVP of this era, he's literally y'all big man MVP. The only other dude could probably be in the conversation is what? Embiid. So you literally put this dude on y'all MVP of y'all era, and he locks him up.
Yeah.
Come on now. I don't want to hear no comparisons of y'all more talented and all of this stuff. Imagine trying to put a 6'3" dude on Shaq.
You know
Imagine.
what they say? Barbecue chicken, son. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah. That
Barbecue,
dude would have definitely.
barbecue chicken.
Yo,
Barbecue
look,
chicken.
look.
But yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's me licking. That's me licking the barbecue off my fingers.
Yeah.
So because that's all it would have been. That's all it would have been, man.
Barbecue chicken.
And it would have been buffet style. It would have
Yeah,
been straight
yeah, all you can
buffet.
eat. You know what I'm saying?
All
All
you
you
can
can
eat
eat.
barbecue chicken. That's all it would have
All
been.
you can eat, man.
Crazy.
But on another note, man, did you see the Lance and the little Beasley joint?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw
You,
it.
you actually watched the because I ain't see the whole thing. I saw clips. You got to
No,
actually
I
see.
seen clips.
Okay,
I
okay,
seen
okay.
clips. So I wasn't interested in, watching the whole thing because I felt like I knew who would win. When guys actually understand the game of basketball, it's a different skill set when you are playing 5-on-5, when you playing 3-on-3, when you playing 1-on-1. And a dude that could be super talented when it comes to a 1-on-1 matchup isn't necessarily the GOAT when it comes to daggone 5-on-5 basketball.
100.
It's other attributes and traits that come balling up to the surface when you playing 1-on-1. You don't have nobody to rely on. It's no help defense. You could use your physicality. If you don't play defense, then you may just get cooked from that perspective, regardless of how good you are offensively. So it's a lot of things that come into play pertaining to the 1-on-1 size, all of these things, has a lot to do. So I know maybe the average fan may get excited, and the average fan may even be surprised in regards to who will actually win some of these 1-on-1 matchups. But we've been around enough basketball, we've been in enough gyms, I've seen enough players from top to bottom that it really didn't surprise me pertaining to who actually won the
Yeah,
1-on-1.
well, dudes are sleeping on Beasley. I know he just called out Melo and Joe Johnson. How you feel on that? How you feel on that?
Think Melo is an interesting matchup, but I say Melo some years ago. I'm not sure
With Melo, that's what I
pertaining
was
to,
thinking.
yeah, I'm not sure pertaining to Melo right now at his age, pertaining to his lateral movement, what it's like. Not Melo will always get buckets, one of the best scorers we ever seen. But again, when it comes to 1-on-1 matchups, now you got to play defense. There's a lot of other things that's involved.
Yeah,
Like if
and with
it's
Mike,
a
yeah,
no,
no,
if it's a real game, I'm still picking Melo. But if it's a 1-on-1, I would have to see Melo and see exactly how he moving and all of that type of stuff before I could truly make a pick between him and Beasley. Because I don't think dudes understand how talented Beasley
he
is,
is.
especially when it comes to 1-on-1. And let me say this:
Yeah.
people don't truly understand the talent of the NBA. I know they believe like it's such a huge gap pertaining to dudes that's playing decent, and then some of these guys that's kind of making all-star games sometimes, but not really making all-star games. And really it's not that big of a gap. It's probably a big gap when it comes to the superstars of the game, but everybody else is based on being in the right system, being in the right organization, the coach believing in you, getting the opportunity to play your brand of basketball. All of these things come into play pertaining to basketball, which I believe the average fan doesn't understand. The dude on the end of the bench of the NBA going to a regular rec will cook everybody in there. Let me say that again. The dude at the end of the bench, I'm talking about the dude that don't even get his warm up off, will cook everybody in a recreation gym.
Yeah.
He's going to cook everybody based on his ability and his skill set. So I don't think, again, the average person understand that.
No, no, 100. And I was gonna say with Melo, I think what dudes is missing on this, these is not dudes in the prime of their career. When we talking these 1-on-1s. I think it's good. I like where it's going. You know what I'm saying? But you're not getting dudes in the prime of their career. And I think that changed the dynamic. Melo been retired for a while. How much he's actually in the gym working and like usually dudes retire. I mean, I'm sure they still around basketball, but how much they really in the gym is a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. I would have to see Melo, um, what he's looking like, how he's moving, and things of that nature at this point in his career. He's been sitting down for a while. I don't really know how much he's actually in the gym working. Some of these dudes don't matter if they retired or not. They in the gym. They working probably just
Hmm.
as much as if they was still playing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what they do. Others, once they retire and sit down, dudes ain't really trying to be working up a sweat like that no more. They may, get a couple of shots up here and there, but
Hmm.
so now I think that plays a difference as well. When you're not getting dudes in the prime of their career. So I think that's cool. And then I think Beasley is playing the 3-on-3 joint
Hmm.
with the Ice Cube tournament, right? The Big Three is what they call it, something like that.
Yep, yep, the
The Big
big
Three.
three.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so he's playing the Ice Cube joint, which is again, you keeping yourself in some type of shape, you keeping yourself shooting, you playing. Melo is just literally on the couch. You know what I'm saying? I know he got his son. Well, I'm sure he's probably in gyms, but he's probably doing more teaching than balling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
um that makes a difference. And freaking talking about the damn big three, I know you came across Lance and soft ass Dwight Howard,
Yeah. Our Brooklyn guy Lance, man. Look, the one thing I give Lance is Lance has always been entertaining, man.
Yeah, word up, word up.
He's always been
That
entertaining,
nigga
man.
blowing their
Like,
ears, he doing all
look,
types of shit.
I said, if Lance is doing anything, to get your popcorn, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
pertaining
yeah.
to him and, Dwight Howard, whatever you want to call that, it looked like a pillow fight to me. You get what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying?
They was wrestling, man. They was over there
Like,
wrestling.
like
They was over there wrestling.
WWE at its finest. These guys in this era, let me keep it a buck. They just need to stop fighting. They need to stop acting like they want to fight because it is giving basketball dudes a bad rap when it comes to actually being able to fight because it don't look like these guys know how to fight at all. And I don't even blame them because part of it is they get fined out the wazoo. So this stuff has been eliminated
Yeah,
from the
but this the
game.
big three. This the big three
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
So
but I'm just
I don't
saying.
think Ice Cube
But
finding Ice
but
Cube and Cali do right. Right?
yeah, but Rob, what I'm saying is these are still previous NBA players. So you socialized. You
Yeah, yeah,
socialized. And when you've been playing in the NBA for so long, and this is actually fighting is actually bad for your brand, it's gonna mess with your pockets, and you're gonna get hit with fines and may get suspended. Like nothing good comes out of it. So dudes eventually start to build some emotional intelligence to where they don't take themselves to that level to where they want to fight or things of that nature. So a lot of times when guys is barking at each other in this era, it's just WWE. Nobody's really trying to fight, and if it does happen, is what we just saw with the big three. Like these dudes did everything but, hug each other for about 10 seconds and then fell on the floor. And all
yeah.
I needed
And
was pillows.
the white too fucking big, son. He too big to have some lengths. You know what I'm saying? Tackling him down to the floor, son. Just ridiculous, man. Like,
He not trying to, that's my point. He not trying to fight. Like these guys is not trying to fight. Again,
yeah,
did he throw a
yeah.
punch? Did he throw a punch? Did Lance throw a punch?
Well, Lance threw a punch at, I don't know if you saw the other clip. He at least let one go at the Jordan, what's his name? Jordan
If you want
Crawford
to
and
call
stuff
that a
like that.
punch,
I
yeah,
mean, he
Jordan
he
Crawford.
he
If you
swung.
want to throw
He
that, if you want to call that a
he
punch,
ain't connect
if
with
you
nothing, but he swung.
it's,
He ain't connect, but
yo, he
he,
was
he,
right next to him. This is what I'm saying, right? He
yo,
was he was right next to him.
yo,
It missed
son.
he missed everything. You
Yeah,
get what
by
I'm
map.
saying?
Yeah, he missed
And
by
that's what I
map.
mean. But pertaining to him and Dwight Howard, Dwight Howard pushed him. You feel my strength. Lance Stevenson came to him and grabbed him. You feel my strength. The Wayne said, "You feel my strength. I feel your strength. Oh, we fall on the floor. Oh, this stuff is stupid, man. Yeah, this stuff is stupid. Like they
Oh
just gotta
shit.
stop, man. They just gotta stop because we ain't gonna see no real fights in this era anymore. Like I said, because they're penalized, even though the big three may not penalize them the way the NBA. These are guys that done played in the NBA for a long time, and they still socialize, and it's hard to kind of get away
Yeah,
from
break out
that
of that. Yeah,
when
you mean
yeah,
yeah.
when it's been in your head for so long. So
Mm.
I mean,
But
maybe the average fan look at that as entertaining. When I'm looking at it live, I want to press fast forward and just get back to the game because I know
yeah,
ain't nothing really going to go down.
yeah, no, that's 100. But at least the dope thing about it, at least brought some publicity to what Ice Cube doing over there. Um, I think what he doing over there is dope. I done seen people seem like they kind of still in the idea. The WNBA girls had like a 3-on-3 type thing going on in the off season. I remember they was doing it like full court. I don't know if you ever saw that. And then I think in the Olympics it was like 3-on-3 basketball, which I never saw. I didn't even know that existed in the
Mm-hmm.
freaking Olympics. So it seemed like a lot of people trying to take his idea. I think that at least brings some publicity. Even though, like you said, it was definitely WWE, but hey, people still tune in to WWE, man. It's entertaining. You know what I'm saying? So people still
Yeah,
tune in to watch. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, you're
I
right.
agree.
You're right.
I agree 100%. But yo, getting into some real fighting since we was on our dude Lance from Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. I watched the fight last night, man, with the Brooklyn cat Richardson. I don't want to mispronounce Richardson Hitchens or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Definitely proud of that. That was my first time seeing him. Number one. But definitely proud of him, man. Just being from New York, being from Brooklyn. I don't think we had a true prodigy from come out of Brooklyn in the last 25 years. Or maybe, I mean, I guess you could say Tio, but I mean Tio's cool. But I don't.
Yeah, and we had Danny Jacobs.
Oh yeah, we had yep, you had Danny. So we had a few. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
We had a few. But I think this kid could be special. And I don't think we had that type of special talent since like a Zan.
Mm-hmm.
Like with a whole
Mm-hmm.
silly city kind of gathered behind that talent. I think we had some good ones kind of in that gap. But I think this kid could be special, man. The way he who was it, George Kambosos, the way he
Yeah.
broke him down, the way he ended the show. And when I saw he only had 7 knockouts, I'm like, oh, this dude, he's probably like one of them slick boxers and can't knock nobody out. And
Mm-hmm.
we know George Kambosos been in there with a couple of big time dudes with what's her name?
Devin Haney.
No, not Haney. The dude Haney no, Tio. He was in
Tio.
there with Tio. Haney, that dude punch like pillows, man. I can't. But yeah, he was in there with Haney. If you want to say a big
Mm-hmm.
name, Haney.
Yeah, big name.
Um,
We ain't talking about a big
yeah,
puncher.
yeah.
We ain't talking about a big puncher. Let's make that clear. We ain't talking about a big puncher.
That
We talking
nigga, yeah,
about a
that
big
nigga
name.
got pillows with it. But yeah, Haney. Did he ever get in the ring with the other cat? The older dude. What's his name? That they wanted Tank to fight.
Yeah, yeah, Lomachenko. Yeah, Lomachenko
Lomachenko. He
stopped
was
him.
in there. Lomachenko
Lomachenko.
stopped him.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Lomachenko
Yeah. So
stopped him.
he been in there with some dudes, man. You know what I'm saying? So it just shows a lot for the young kid to be able to actually stop him. Especially a dude that only got 7 knockouts. I was like, oh shoot. Well, I guess that make 8. You know what I'm saying? Because usually when you see a dude with that little bit of knockouts, you're like, oh, he can't hit. And he broke him down. Went to his body, finished him up top. I'm like, pause. But he definitely did his thing. I was proud to see that. I think the boxing world, he put them on notice. He put them on notice. I know he called out Haney and Teal. He actually called out Haney and
Hmm.
Teal. If I'm Haney, Haney better go running. He'd beat the dog ish out of Haney. Real
Yeah,
talk.
I agree. I agree.
Real
I
talk.
agree with you. I agree with you. And it was the first time me seeing a young fella too. And I'm gonna tell you, I was impressed. Like he got a skill set. Like pertaining to his boxing ability, his skill set is extremely high pertaining to his boxing ability. So you know, you and I, we love the sport of boxing. So once I seen his boxing ability, I kind of started to sit up like, oh damn, yo,
Yeah.
this dude is actually talented, because I never really heard of him, truthfully. I never
Yeah, I
really
told you I
heard of
came
him.
across the name, but I ain't really, I ain't never, you come, the name definitely was ringing, it was making a little noise. I came across it. So,
Hmm.
but,
Yeah, he born
yeah.
and raised from Brooklyn. So to see one of our own, like you said, we haven't really had that in some time. So I was excited to see it. But the minute you start to see a dude dominating a guy from a skill set, being able to outbox him, I was worried just like you pertaining to seeing that 7 knockouts on his record. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like he ain't gonna be able to close the show. Maybe he another Devin Haney. Maybe he just got 2 pillows and he just gonna keep pity
Yeah,
patting the
but
dude all night.
he was still more skilled than Haney though. He's still like,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if
but
he
I'm just
didn't have the knockout power, that kid is fucking skilled. Like that's
Yeah,
boxing
yeah.
elite.
But
Like,
I'm talking about pertaining to styles. When you could
yeah,
say this dude is a boxer puncher, this dude is a boxer, this dude is a pit bull, he gonna go after you, or whatever the case may be. I thought I had him pegged. And then it got to about the 6th round, and he started stepping it up.
yeah,
He started
yeah,
stepping it up, saying, I'm gonna get this dude out of here, which impressed me, which is the one thing I be looking for from Steven Shakur.
Shakur
That's the one
Stevenson.
thing I be looking. Shakur
He,
Stevenson, I mean, that's the one thing I be looking from him because his boxing ability is amazing. Is he gonna press somebody once he realized he done outclassed them and hurt them and really get them out of
no,
there?
that
And
kid.
and Richardson, he literally pressed on the gas. He took a few chances, which a lot of guys that box don't want to do, and he got Kambosos out of there,
Out of
which
there.
was super impressive. So I'm looking forward to seeing him again.
Seeing him again.
Whether it's T.O., whether it's Devin Haney, I may be leaning towards the young fella because of the show he put on and the skill set I believe he have. And
And
normally I don't talk like that in regards to seeing somebody for one fight.
fight. And I'm gonna add to it. At least from watching him last night, Mike, he remind me of that fight. Remind me of Floyd against Arturo Gotti. That's what it remind me of. I don't think he's as explosive as a young Floyd, but when you look at the young talent, when you look at the defense, when you look at working behind that jab, he got also like a linkiness to him, like those long
Mm-hmm.
arms. You know what I'm saying? Where he
Mm-hmm.
could kind of stay on the outside and jab you. And then the ability to just pick it up and start walking the dude down. That fight really reminded me of Floyd Mayweather and the Toro Gotti. I think that kid is legit. I think he's like if all them dudes, the show he put on last night, I know dudes is looking like shit. We may want to stay
Yeah.
away from him. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm freaking Haney, if Haney and them smart, they don't want to go that route. They do not want to go that route. I think him and Tio, I would want to see one more fight with the young fella before he's stepping in with a Tio.
Yeah.
Not that
I
he's
think he's
not.
ready.
I want to
I
see one more. And that's why I was about to say, not that he may not be ready. But we know how experience plays a part. But I think it'd be a hell of a fight right now. I think it'd be a hell of a fight right now. I think it'd be a hell of a fight. I just can't say hands down he'll win. But I'm like you. I'll probably lean towards him a little bit. I'll
yeah.
probably
Yeah.
lean towards him a little bit.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards him right now against both of them. And the TO would be to me the more dangerous fight. I think Devin Haney, they got similar styles, and I believe he do their style better than Devin Haney
He
does it.
gonna beat
So
the dog ish out of Devin Haney, son. That ain't even
yeah,
close. That ain't even close. That ain't even close. Haney think he's a boxer and all that, and whatever the case might be. Son do what Haney do 10 times better. He do what Haney do 10 times better. It seemed like he hit harder than Haney. Defense is better than Haney. I mean, did you see the kid counterpunch ability? That's why I said some of that shit remind me of a young Floyd. Dude throw
Yeah,
a joint and he hit a dude with two straights after he counted. Bop, bop. I'm like, God damn, this nigga, that
yeah, he looked
that
impressive.
kid, he's official, man. He's official. Yeah, the only reason why I wouldn't throw him in the, I mean, he may be ready, but with T.O., I just think experience matters sometimes. Experience matters. And then to be honest, I want to see like a Tank and T.O.
Yeah, that'll be a hell of a
more
fight
than
too.
I really want to see that. I think him going to Haney would be like that next fight, and then he could get probably whatever after that. But yeah, I want to see like a To and Tank, to be honest with you. And Tank having a rematch coming up too with
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
Lamar kid.
know.
I think he beat the dog shit out of that kid now. I don't think he came in that fight properly. I think whatever switches he made with his coach and all that foolishness, um, I think he wasn't. I think he overlooked that kid. And we said it after the fight, like he's from DC. He's right down the block. He's gonna come with a certain um heart. Like he ain't about to just let Tank walk through him. Right?
Hmm.
You can't be DC then Baltimore. He's gonna fight his best he ever fought. You know what I'm saying? But I just felt like after the fight, he seemed too happy to me with a draw. He seemed too happy.
Yeah,
He seemed too satisfied that he got that. I think Tank is prepared for what he got to bring. I think Tank was just looking for the knockout because he been knocking dudes out so much that he stopped doing the things in that fight what made him great. Right? And some of those things, this Tank don't get enough credit for his boxing ability. He was loading up on every shot. You know what I'm saying? He don't get enough credit for his intelligence, how he counter guys. And not to take nothing away from the other dude, because I think he came in with a good game plan. Right? He didn't fall into really the counters Tank was trying to set up and the traps he was trying to set. So I think he came with a good game plan, but yeah, I don't see this one going the distance. I think I think he's probably locked in. If it was anything to get him locked in, I think that was it.
yeah, definitely. I agree. The Lamont Roach, he came out with an excellent game plan, and for the most part, he executed it. But pertaining to Tank, to me, Tank is a dog, man, because his IQ with his skill set and his punching ability in this era, I'm not going against Tank. So at
Yeah,
the end of the
word.
day, whoever going against Tank right now, until I see somebody show me otherwise, I'm going with Tank. Period.
Yeah, I agree. Well, look, I know, and we're ended on this. I know the Shakur kid got a fight against a kid that's pretty good. That I think I don't know if this is the same kid that you said got jerked on his fight. Zapita or Williams, something like that. I gotta get his name. But I know he got a fight coming up, the Shakur kid. If he won that, I would like this. Him and Tank probably should be the next fight. Them two. Shakur, if Shakur wins the fight that he has, and assuming Tank handle what he got to handle, um, I think it's about time for them to probably. I think that'd be a big event, depending on how Shakur
Yeah,
look this next fight though. If he looks pretty good, because I agree with you, Shakur, he have talent, but Shakur, you know how I feel about it. You're a little bit more higher on him than I am. I feel he haven't showed that dog in him yet. That's what I want to see. Like I know he can
yeah,
outbox somebody, but you got to have that dog in you. And going against a Tank, um, I need to know you can keep that a pit bull off you. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
I need to know you can
Well,
keep a pit bull off you, and I don't know if he showed that he can do that yet.
yeah, well, that fight is interesting, no different than when we discuss basketball, because styles make fights.
Word.
So, so pertaining to Shakur and Tank, just to see that chess match, I'll pay for it. Just to see that chess match, but in regards to who's going to attack who. Because the funny thing, when it comes to Tank, a lot of times people look at his knockout record and they think he just in there pressing guys. He's not.
Yeah, he's usually
Like
countering. He's a counter puncher.
he's strategically letting guys come to him, setting up traps, counter punching, things of that nature. And Shakur is trying to do the same at times. So just to see who's going to take that first step and kind of bring the fight to the other
To him.
person is interesting in itself. And
Yeah,
then
but
the
I think
skill set is like, and let me say this, the skill set is like no other. So I believe that that'll be an amazing fight if they do the fight soon. This fight gotta take place in the
yeah, I
next
think it got to be the
year.
next fight. It got to be the next fight. It got to be
Yeah,
the next
yeah, it
fight.
gotta take place.
Assuming both
It gotta
guys
take place in
handle
the
what
next
they
year.
handle, because Shakur don't have an easy fight. The kid he fighting is a young talent. He legit. He legit. So, but I would give Shakur the head nod. Assuming he take care of that, Tank take care of what he's supposed to take care of. It definitely got to be the next fight. And I'm kind of with you. I think, like I said, people assume that Tank just walked those down, but I do think he comes in with that strategy against Shakur. And that's why I said I gotta know that that's what make Tank Tank. He's unique because he has so many ways he can win a fight.
Hmm.
He could truly outbox a dude if he want to outbox a dude. He could truly be the stalker if he want to stalk you down. He
Hmm.
could go and play counter. You know what I'm saying? He could go and play counter, and like we seen him do with Ryan Garcia, getting in the air. And Ryan Garcia thought he was going to just jump on him, and he got put down pretty fast. You know what I'm saying? So he also did that against what's the kid that just beat Ryan Garcia? The dude that speak with his tongue. The
Oh,
Yeah,
Rolly,
Rolly,
short
Rolly.
bus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
short bus.
short bus.
Short bus Rolly, man. That's my man. Rolly.
Uh, yeah, Rolly did an amazing job though, man.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
he had
Rolly
this
short bus,
business.
man.
Rolly, you can tell he was coloring for a lot of years, man. But
Yeah.
Rolly, Rolly, Rolly got
uh,
laid. And what the I think they interviewed him. He said, I was winning the fight. I was winning the fight. Yeah.
oh, oh man, yo.
Rolly said, Rolly
Like
said
I
he
rocks
wanted,
with Rolly. Like
yeah,
we all had a friend or a family member that was short bus. You know that
yeah,
short bus
man.
picked them up from the school. You know, picked them up for school, and you know, Rolly is short bus, man.
Yeah,
But
Rolly,
I
that's
rock
my
with
dude.
him. I definitely rock with that guy how he
Yeah, he
fight because you know
entertaining,
he come.
man. He
You know he
entertaining.
coming. You know he coming to fight. You know he
Yeah,
coming to fight.
yeah. He come to lay
And
dudes. He come to lay dudes. He come to
yeah,
lay
and
dudes.
I
So
look, and I'll leave us with this pertaining to Tank because it kind of piggyback on what I was saying in regards to basketball and errors when it comes to talent. Tank is a prime example of talent that he have a skill set and he know when to use that skill set based on his
that's true.
opponent. He
That's true.
pick and choose which style he's going to fight to make the fight as easy as possible to get the victory. So again, he has a tool belt. He pick and choose which tool he going to take out and utilize it to the best of his advantage. That's talent.
That's true. That's true. I think we can leave it on that note, man. I'd probably name this episode Talent. But
Real
I
talk.
think real talk,
Real
yo.
talk.
But it was good chopping it up with you, man, until we meet again or until we speak again, man. We probably gonna have to do one live for the people together. But yeah, this is definitely dope, man. We'll definitely end it
All
right
right.
there.
All right. That's what's up, Big Rob. I'll holler.
All right, that's a bet.